Good day, everyone, and welcome to Chautauqua People. My name is Ira Cooperman, and our special guest today is Mark Russel, political satirist and comedian, famous for his musical parodies and playing the piano, and known for his series of PBS specials. Mark Russel's humor is well known for taking on or skewering Democrats and Republicans alike. Compared to Mort Sahl, one of my favorites, Tom Lehrer, another one of my favorites, and Woody Allen for his humor, but there is only one Mark Russel, and I'm very happy that he's able to join us today. Mark, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you. Here's a half a parody, okay. Summertime, and the lake is polluted. Fish are dying. If you swim, you will too. Just want to put it out there.
Yes, unfortunately.
It's because there's phosphorus in the laundry detergent in Toledo, which the libertarians would be against.
Is that what it is?
Yes, yeah.
And I always thought it was algae in Lake Chautauqua.
What's it all about algae? That's right.
Well, it's a shame that this week the kids aren't able to swim in the lake, but we'll try swimming here in the studio
and you
today.
can walk across it as you do so well.
At least some of my relatives have been known to walk across lakes.
Yes, your people.
Not necessarily my people versus your people. I don't know. You know, talking about parodies, we were, weren't we?
Yes.
I was amazed to find that there was a parody of you as an episode on The Simpsons some time ago.
It was their first season.
The first season?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had never seen it. And so we're getting calls from people that at the time you wouldn't think be watching The Simpsons. We thought it was some silly thing that kids would like.
Right.
And what it was is there's a class trip through the White House. Mm. And first of all, they go upstairs. George W. Bush was president, and there's these Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and Lisa, the daughter on The Simpsons.
The Simpsons, right.
And Bart, her brother, I guess.
Right.
And so they're going through the residence upstairs of the White House, and they go into the bathroom, and there's Barbara Bush in the bathtub with the pearls on. You know, shows her pearls. And so they walk in, and they troop through the bathroom by the bathtub.
Right.
And she screams, "Ah! Oh, a tour? Well, the White House was built in 1800. So the kids go, they have entertainment. So here's this goofy guy with the glasses and the bow tie standing up at the piano, and Bart pulls out a slingshot, hits me in the eye.
Wow.
And I looked at that, you know, I thought, what did I ever do to the producer? Where did I go wrong with this guy? But that was the first time. And, you know, it was
were on Saturday Night Live also.
That was, and what was nice about that, they always, you know, it's never kind.
Right.
I mean, I'm really...
Well, they're satirizing
I'm
you.
getting as good as I give in that case. Right. And so there's, again, the goofy guy with the glasses and the bow tie. And if he just says good evening, they cut to the audience, and they're rolling over. It's really sarcastic, you know.
Right.
But they did me a favor because they could have had it all senior citizens, because they've used that against me too. Don Imus once said that my audience doesn't have any teeth. See, that's
both ways.
So yeah, you know, you put up with
well,
that.
At Chautauqua, it's kind of true, isn't it, that most of the people have...
You know, let me tell you, this has been my observation. You walk around the grounds of Chautauqua, and it could be a friend or a total stranger.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
You walk up to that person, and you say, "How's your knee?" It's fine, thank you for asking. Well, total stranger, how's your knee? Well, I still got so I'm convinced that Wounded Knee is not in South Dakota. It's in Chautauqua. What are the characteristics?
Well, I think that all of this, The Simpsons and being on Saturday Night Live, I think it makes you an American icon. Just watch out if somebody tries to sell the icons.
Yes, or if pigeons don't land on it.
Right. Well, one of the things that you do that I really like, and I think it's something that should be mentioned, is that you perform at a lot of benefits. I know at one time you actually thought about retiring, and I'm really glad that you came out of retirement. But now you perform at an awful lot of benefits. I saw you on August 3rd at the Fredonia Opera House. I don't know if it was a benefit for the Opera House.
Was for me.
Oh, it's for you. Oh, that's even better.
Yes.
And before that, you performed in Erie, at a library, I think it was.
Libraries, that's a coming thing in show business.
Is that the new thing?
You make it in a library, next level, Christian Science reading rooms.
Woo!
I'm ready.
I think that's great. Well, we ought to talk a little bit about you to start with, just so people know who the real Mark Russel is. Which reminds me, Russel's not your real last name, is it? Do you ever talk about that?
I don't know. Let me look at my driver's license.
Oh, okay.
Ruslander, Ruslander.
Is he?
And it was a name, you know how if somebody's name is Robert and then the last name becomes Robertson.
Right.
Williamson. There's a Russian first name, Ruslan.
Ah.
In fact, you should know this. There's
Music, Ruslan.
Yeah, Ruslan and Ludmila.
Ludmila, yeah.
By who? Ira Quick.
By
Glinka.
some Glinka, right.
Glinka.
He was a clink of a Glinka.
Yes, right. And so Ruslander. And so they were Russian Jews, and then my grandfather married an Irish Catholic.
Ah.
And so the family really didn't know each other, the two sides, until 1979 when I first played the amphitheater here.
Really?
And I had to write up, I think, a TV guide or something like that. Maybe I told a reporter my name was Ruslander.
Right.
And so we met, and for the first time, generations didn't know each other. And so we had a big family reunion the day after the show in '79. And it was very nice.
How was everyone's knees?
That's right. How's that knee? Well, I did my 60th high school reunion at Canisius High School.
Right, in Buffalo?
Yeah, and I was kidding. I get up, there's all these guys. I said, okay, hip replacements over here, knee replacements, and they obeyed me. And they stood up and they started, yeah.
Terrible. Well, you were actually born in Buffalo, so
yes,
you're actually from this area.
Died there several times, too. Do you have a snare drum here?
I think we'll have to do it with the table.
Yeah, I did. We moved to Washington, D.C. after I graduated from high school. And lived in Jamestown 1 year. 34 Lakeview.
Wow.
My boyhood, I got to get over there. They're out of bobblehead dolls and T-shirts.
That's what. Do you get a percentage of that?
Yeah, 34 Lakeview. We lived upstairs, and my father worked in a gas station at Main and 6th in Jamestown. There's a Catholic church across the street.
Right.
And we had this display of tires, and my father would tell the customer.
World War II?
World War II. And so he'd say, tell the people, every morning the priest from the church comes over here and blesses the tires. and people would bring scrap metal and the kitchen fat, they made soap out of it for the GIs. Right. And people did that. And you'd bring in all your scrap metal. You take a tin can, a can of soup. You take the label off, take the ends off, either end, and then flatten it. And people bring stacks of those. That's how we beat the Hun.
Wow. Amazing.
And
it's amazing.
The other people.
So you only managed to stay 1 year in Jamestown.
1 year, yeah. And my parents, we never set foot in Chautauqua. Never did. They thought it was too hoity-toity.
Then it probably was.
Yeah. And I don't know if this was, they just felt that maybe Catholics weren't terribly welcome at the time. It was not as ecclesiastical as it is now.
It certainly is diversified now.
Everybody, yes, yes.
All sorts of strange people today. Did you go to college in Buffalo?
No, I went to, by then we had moved to Washington.
Okay. So you only went to high school in Buffalo?
Only high school.
I always thought Canisius was a college.
There's a high school and a college.
But they didn't let you in, huh?
No, well, we had moved. And actually, I took before I knew we were moving, I took the exam to get into Fredonia. Fredonia was only known for music then.
Right, right.
And musicians would go to school at Fredonia, and the idea was that you would teach. Well, they weren't all going to teach. They just wanted to study music and have a college education. And I wasn't good enough on the piano, and so I auditioned on the kettle drum, timpani.
Really?
Yeah, and I was accepted, but by then we moved. And moved to Washington. And I went to George Washington University for 1 month. 1 month, quit, got the full tuition back, and joined the Marine Corps.
Right. You still have a brother who plays the piano?
Yes, he plays much better than I do.
Yeah.
And he was at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington for 30 years. Wow. And then he plays lunches at a very famous Gucci shoes lobbyist on K Street, which is called the Prime Rib.
Oh, wow.
A year ago, Bill and Hillary Clinton walked in there.
Right.
They were having a private event in the little room at lunch, see?
Right.
And the entourage, they walk through and they have to go by the piano. And my brother's playing.
Right.
And Bill Clinton starts humming the song. It was Body and Soul, right?
Right.
But he didn't stop. He didn't look at my brother. He just kept walking. And he's humming, see? So a few minutes later, he comes out by himself. And he's schmoozing at every table,
right.
which he does so well. Every table,
right.
Bill Clinton does. And then he comes by my brother. And he said, Bill Clinton, see, like that.
Yeah, like
and my brother said, yeah, I know. And he said, Mr. President, when you walked by, I was trying to, I didn't know you were coming in. And my brother's very emotional, excitable. And he said, I didn't know what to play, and I kept thinking of songs that was inappropriate, inappropriate, inappropriate. And Clinton said, well, I thought Body and Soul was very appropriate. I had Coleman Hawkins recording of that when I was a kid. And he's talking, and he says, you know, I play the saxophone.
Yes.
He's one-on-one, riveted
Great.
to this piano player.
Tremendous.
And I play the saxophone. Václav Havel, president of Hungary, Czechoslovakia, he gave me a saxophone. You know, the reeds are different, Dan.
And your brother's a pianist.
Yeah, but he's just all about music. And just
it's great.
That's a moment you were there. And everybody who meets this guy, they have that memory.
Zips right into it.
He walked into the Wensley house on the grounds. He was there 5 years earlier. He remembered Winnie's name, who ran the Wensley.
Yeah, he's too
amazing
much.
Man.
Maybe
wonder whatever happened to him.
Maybe we'll get him back one of these days if his wife decides to run.
His wife is now agreeing with Dick Cheney. Did you notice that?
What is she?
She's saying the same things that Cheney was saying about a month ago. That it was a mistake for Obama to completely pull out of Iraq.
Oh, here I thought you were talking about
in 2011. In 2011.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's a gap there.
There is a gap.
Yeah.
And there's nobody better to fill that gap than somebody who served in the Marine Corps, as I know you did. I'm not going to ask you to take your shirt off, but I know you've got something like stars and bars on your shirt.
Globe and Anchor.
Anchor, that's what it is.
Globe and Anchor.
It's a globe.
The ink is still wet, otherwise I'd show it to you.
No, it's great. How many years were you a Marine?
3.
3 years.
53 to 56. The Korean War was going on. I want that to be known. And
you saved us from those.
There was an island in Hawaii. If you're on Maui, you can see it. It's a target for the Navy. It's a rock.
Right.
And since I think World War I, they've used that rock for naval gunfire practice.
Gotcha.
I was a radio operator with portable radio. We would land on the beach, and we would call in the Navy naval gunfire.
Coordinates?
And they had, thank you. They had old cars and trucks as targets. Thanks to me, there was never any communist infiltration on that island.
What about having a shell land near you? Those Navy gunners weren't always
We were
so
there was a bunker.
Oh, okay.
There was a bunker, a concrete bunker.
Good.
But we did the whole thing. We went down the rope ladder and everything, and that was the only combat I saw.
So the Marines gave you a lot of things. Did they also give you your start in comedy?
Yeah, I played the piano. First of all, I want to tell you, I mean, the peacetime Marine, that was it. All I do is shine my shoes, polish my belt buckle, and press my uniform. So when I was discharged, instead of coming home as John Wayne, I came home as Martha Stewart. But I did. I had a band. And,
in the Enlisted Men's Club?
In the Enlisted Club in Atsugi Naval Air Station between Tokyo and Yokohama. And there was a piano, trumpet, and drums. And the drummer was a kid named Zelinsky from Brooklyn. He's a kind of a smart-ass kid, you know, and a wise guy. Tough kid from Brooklyn. And so I was singing these songs, and they were dirty little, risque, smutty little, dirty songs that I had learned years earlier on the playground at St. Paul's Elementary School in Kenmore, New York. And so we were called before the commanding officer because a chaplain's assistant, this sailor, wrote a scathing editorial in the base paper.
Said it was dirty, huh?
Smut.
Smut.
The filth that's smut.
Wow.
So we're
There's never any smut in the Marine Corps, is there?
we're in front of this one-star admiral, the commanding officer of this entire naval air station.
Wow.
Zelensky and I were at attention, and we're in big trouble. He's got this editorial in front of him.
Right.
And what's this all about? And with that, Zelensky breaks attention, reaches over, picks up 2 pencils off the admiral's desk, and starts beating out the rhythms. And, hit it, Russ! So I sing the song, and the admiral says, get the hell out of here. And we're out of there.
So they didn't send you to the brig, huh?
No, I came close a few times, but not that.
Now, I know it's a gigantic jump from the Marine Corps to the Shoreham Hotel, and in between something called Watergate 40 years ago. Is that impossible?
40 years ago.
40 years ago?
Just a couple of days ago. And I had a party that night. We were all going to watch Nixon resign.
Really?
Yeah. And all of our fellow Nixon haters were there, and were in a party mood waiting for the resignation speech.
This was August of 1974. Right.
And so it was a party mood. See, so he comes on the television. Tomorrow, I will resign the presidency, effective immediately. And when he finished, there were no high fives, no hooping and hollering. Instantly sobered, we put our glasses down and left, and the party was over. I was particularly sad because Nixon's resignation meant that I had to go back to writing my own material. That was it.
You didn't have Nixon to kick around anymore.
No. Although he's still with us, you know. John Dee. All these books are out now. John Dee's book, and
Isn't that amazing?
They found a quote from him that's been overlooked. Him saying, "If somebody shoots Ted Kennedy, so what?"
Yeah. Well, so much for Richard Nixon. You did very well though at the Shoreham. How many years were you at the
20
Shoreham?
years.
20 years. They even have a bust of you up on the side of the one inside the building. There's some kind of a plaque that has your name on it.
Yeah.
It says, Mark Russell was once here.
Yeah, it was an amazing hotel. The hotel opened in 1930, and it was the fanciest hotel in town. I was there from 61 to 81. And I was booked there a 2-week contract, and I had stayed 20 years. 5 shows, 6 nights a week. I only had one night off.
That's
and the
great.
first show was at 10:30 at night. I go to bed then now.
Yeah.
No. But it was, and it was, 10:30. Can you imagine that? Because what people would do, they would go out to dinner. People go out to dinner now and then they go home.
Right.
No, you didn't go home. You went someplace else.
Sure.
For what was called a nightcap. All that booze lingo, you know.
Right.
Nightcap.
Well, there was a nice bar at the Shoreham.
The sauce, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
That was booze, sauce. But that's what and we never had to advertise because whatever the news was, some big thing happened in the news, well, let's go over, see what Russell's doing on this. And so that's
it worked.
The way it was.
It really.
And this was the lounge. And they had a big hotel, a big showroom, like a Vegas showroom, big name acts.
Right.
Bob Hope's son went to Georgetown University. And he would come to visit his son. He would stay at the hotel, and then he would come into our room. And it was always, you never know, unexpected. So one night, first of all, he's sitting there. There's a bunch of guys in there all plastered, and they walk out. A guy comes over. Hey, Bob, I saw you in Sicily in 1943. You did a show for my outfit, the 113th Battalion. You may remember me. I was sitting on a Jeep on the sideline. And Hope said, "Yeah, you didn't wear glasses then, did you?" So he said to me, I got a joke for you. My guys wrote this joke. I can't use it. It's just not my style, but you can have this joke.
That was nice of Bob Hope.
And I said, "Oh, thank you. What's the joke?" He said, "Well, you know, kid." Just how long ago this was.
Yeah.
You know, Henry Kissinger is in Paris now trying to work out Paris peace talks to end the war in Vietnam. Henry Kissinger is over there.
Right.
And the punchline is, when did you ever hear of a German ending a war? So I use that,
Good.
and I would give him attribution, Art Buchwald used to say, you give attribution the first 3 times and then it's yours.
That's right. That's right. Well, that was nice about him. Jeez. As just turning to something serious for a moment, as a former Marine, how do you feel about what's going on with the Veterans Administration situation, with all the guys having to wait to get...
Well, it's a big scandal. The irony of it, the chairman of that committee is a socialist, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, and he got together with the Republican. One or two examples of some kind of camaraderie between these two sides.
Right, bipartisanship.
And they have a veterans bill, but I had a little a couplet now. History repeats itself. It's lesson number 1. Suppose you were wounded in World War I. By the time the VA got around to you, it would be World War II.
Well, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Yeah, but that was a terrible, it's outrageous, outrageous.
And with Iraq today, the more things change, the more they remain the same. We're facing...
Well, Ken Burns was here last week, you know, and he's doing a documentary on Vietnam. And then one of the questions was, well, what do you say about the 2 wars in Iraq and then Afghanistan? And he just said, lessons unlearned.
That's for sure.
But this this thing now, even Obama's getting it from both sides. He's getting it from Hillary.
Right.
He's getting it from Congressman, what's his name, Elliott from New York.
Right.
And he was saying the same thing Hillary was. We didn't. They're being Monday morning quarterbacks.
Of course.
And Hillary is saying the same thing that Cheney was about a month ago.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and the whole thing, you know, she's saying. First of all, Obama said we don't want to do stupid stuff. I wish he'll be in front of a bunch of kids, you know,
right.
Or some maybe just average folks. And I remember a couple of years ago, he said, "Well, I just came from the UN. We were doing a bunch of stuff." Come on, your predecessor talked like that.
Right, you shouldn't.
Not you.
Yes.
But he's doing that, and it's annoying. A bunch of stuff. We shouldn't do stupid stuff. So Hillary picks up on that, and she says, "Well, not doing stupid stuff is not a foreign policy." And then she's saying, "Well, because he didn't go right in there and help the moderate rebels in Syria, that made ISIS grow. The terrorists and these guys are mean. I mean, they're too tough for Al Qaeda."
They
kind of don't want to have anything.
They are. It's really bad.
So yeah, we're back. We're back, folks.
Yeah, that's too bad. You know, talking about stupid stuff. Do you think there's such a thing as climate change? Do you think climate change is real? I heard you say something about climate change the other day.
Yeah, it was in my opening song where I would take about a dozen major issues and put them into a song. Now you're asking me to pluck something out the middle of the song. Well, I might be able to do it.
You have such a great memory.
Yeah. I know. I drew a blank a couple times in that show. You were kind enough not to bring it up. Some people thought it was part of the show.
It was.
Yeah.
We'll just, now we'll tell them on television that was part of the show.
I had been to a family wedding late the night before.
Ooh.
And
that was the Buffalo family wedding?
The Buffalo family wedding, yes. But
oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Well, people think climate change is caused by Obamacare.
That's it. That's what it was.
Yeah. And we all know that's true.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. If Mark Twain were alive today,
he'd be 214.
Among other things.
But he'd say, "Wow, I'm 165."
Yeah, whatever. But what do you think? What do you think he would say about how our government has evolved? What would you think about?
Well, it was. I know that Will Rogers had a great line. He said, "If George Washington saw this country today, he would sue us for calling him the father of it." Twain, he was in Buffalo.
Right.
For 2 years, the Buffalo Express.
Right.
One time, the Chamber of Commerce came to him. I found this. I was doing research because at the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library, they have a Mark Twain room. It's a wonderful. Really? You got to see it. All this memorabilia and the original manuscript.
Wow.
From Huckleberry Finn, which which Buffalo, no high bidder. They found it in an attic in California. It's been Sotheby's authenticated it, and Twain wrote a letter to a friend in Buffalo and said, who wanted the man, okay, it's yours. But then the guy died early, and it was passed around family to family. But anyway, so I'm doing this research.
Right.
And the Chamber of Commerce came to Mark Twain, and he said, could you help us out? We want to promote tourism to Western New York, Buffalo, and vicinity.
Sure.
Could you help us out? So Twain said, well, as it happens, I'm writing a satire on the Bible. Give me $1,000, and I'll place the Garden of Eden in Niagara Falls, which he did. And he wrote a satire on the Bible. Not many people know about it because it was so shocking at the time, no publisher would touch it. Oh. So he said, okay, don't release this till 50 years after I'm dead. And there was letters from the earth. Oh, and he would talk about, we never think about the sanitation problem on Noah's Ark, if you think about it. Not only the obvious, animal waste.
Right.
But then he goes further. The man had no boundaries, no boundaries. Some of the living creatures on Noah's Ark were the amoeba living inside of the animal droppings.
Oh, please.
I know. So, does this air during the dinner hour, by the way?
I hope not, but
okay.
I've always wondered, what do you think the woodpeckers were doing on Noah's Ark?
Can you say woodpecker on
woodpecker? Sure, you can.
Public access.
This is public access.
That was all part of it, Yeah. It was Noah's Ark.
Amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Well, unfortunately, we only have a minute, but I just would like to hear your suggestions for what the government should do about the coming shutdown. September 30th is the end of our budget year. The Republicans and Democrats haven't gotten together for a continuing resolution. There's a good chance the government's going to shut down again.
Well, I hope so. I need the material. It's about me, Ira. It's all about me. They'll try to do it. Senator Ted Cruz.
Yes.
He's a freshman senator.
Right.
Single-handedly, practically.
Yeah.
Going to run for president. He was born in Canada. Do you think the Republicans care about that? Well, it's our boy. It's our guy.
Yeah, but he just can't be president, right?
We need a government, in spite of what the libertarians think. And I think we've covered a lot of ground here today, Ira.
We have.
And let me say, I'm so sick of the cliches of politics. We're not going to put boots on the ground.
Right.
I have no problem with boots on the ground myself. I have a problem with putting feet in those boots.
Right.
That's where I draw the line.
I agree. Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure having you on Chautauqua People, or whatever kind of people we are. It's been really wonderful.
Well, as we say in Chautauqua, how's that knee?
Thank you very much for being
Thanks,
our
Ira.
guest.
Pleasure.
And I hope you'll keep watching. We have more interesting people coming. And next time you're in Odessa, Texas, or Washington, Virginia, or Hartford, Connecticut, you can see Mark Russel because he continues to move around the country, and we're just really glad that he
also door to door.
And door to door. And we're really proud of the fact that he is a Buffalo native and still comes back, despite the fact that we try to discourage him. He still keeps coming back. Anyway, thanks again, Mark, and thanks for watching, and bye-bye.